Hi everyone, this is Nasim from PTE Training Center, and in today's video I would like to talk about a very important question, which is fill in the blanks drop down. And I would also like to talk about a few of the strategies which can help you to improve your score. So let's get started. So first and foremost, we would like to have a look at what the task exactly is. As the name implies, from a drop down box you need to choose the correct word that you think should be the correct answer for the sentence with the gap. Basically, a passage will appear on the screen with several blanks, and there will be drop-down options for each blank with several words. Your job is to select the right one. You are required to fill up the blanks from a list of options for each blank. In a text that has a length of maximum 300 words, you can expect to get 5 to 6 questions and enhance your reading as well as writing scores. So it goes without saying how crucial it is for acing the PTE test, right? So in the next slide, we would look at a few of the ways in which you can crack it. So having a good reading habit is always helpful when it comes to spotting the right option in each blank. Remember not to leave any option blank, okay? Even if you are not sure, since you will get rewarded for each correct answer. Alright, so how exactly can you improve your score? Well, there are several factors which I can mention as grammar, collocation, context, vocabulary, elimination strategy, and last but not least, time management. So in the upcoming slides, we shall be looking further at the explanation of each of these points. Okay, all right. So in the next slide, we're going to have a look at the importance of grammatical knowledge. Okay? English language is all about grammar, and it's not an exception when you sit for a PTE Academic exam. Across all modules of the exam, your grammatical knowledge will definitely be put to test. In the reading section in particular, its impact is really paramount, as there are a range of options to choose from while you are answering questions, and unless you have a sound knowledge, it's quite easy to fall behind, right? Okay. So it's essential to have a strong base when it comes to acing this task of fill in the blanks drop down, as your success depends vastly upon having solid grammatical knowledge. Ideally, you should skim through the given passage and at once recognize the theme and content so that you are able to predict the most likely words that should be placed at the blank spot. Okay? Being able to identify whether it shall be a noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, or adjective, along with the tense of the sentences, shall be the crucial factors to decide the right answers. Alright, so let's move on to the next slide, which is about collocation. A collocation is a group of words that usually go together. For example, in English, we usually say fast cars or heavy rain, right? It might be grammatically correct to say quick cars, strong rain, or big rain, for instance, right? Like they're not grammatically incorrect. But are these the way native speakers speak? Like they never say quick car or big rain, right? So becoming familiar or being able to spot the right answers collocation-wise will be a decisive factor. You can check the 2400 plus list of most commonly used academic collocation list published by Pearson to bolster your knowledge of collocation in case you're struggling. Just Google it to download the free PDF file. Okay? That should be pretty handy. Alright, in the next slide, we'd like to highlight a bit on the context. Okay? So there will be questions where more than one option can be selected on merits of grammar and collocation. For example, if the word right before the blank is academic and you see options such as results, certificate, calendar, or studies, all of them could be the answers, right? We are pretty much familiar with using academic results, academic certificate, academic calendar. All of them are grammatically and collocation wise correct. But the trick lies in choosing or deciding which one should be the correct answer, right? So context is a decisive factor. Okay. So whenever a situation like this arises, read the previous and the following sentences to get a better idea of the context and background, to better understand what the blank might be related to. Thus, you will be able to make a rational decision while attempting to alleviate such hurdles, right? Okay. So let's move on to the next slide, which is about vocabulary. It's handy to have a decent vocabulary because in many options, synonyms can play a big part, and to decide the appropriate answer in accordance to the context shall make the difference. Oftentimes, PTE assesses your knowledge of vocabulary. In PTE reading, often you might encounter passages that comprise of words that are a bit complex and vocabulary that you might not be familiar with, since there can be topics from academic literatures and journals. So one way to give yourself a better chance of mitigating this issue can be trying to read academic articles frequently so as to build a good range of vocabulary. You can always take notes of the unknown words and look them up in the dictionary, which you can install in your cell phone. It's so easy these days, right? Then obviously try to remember these words so that if you ever happen to encounter them in a reading task, you will be in business. Okay. So the least you can do is to be able to understand the scenario when you have some background knowledge of that difficult vocabulary, even if you don't remember the exact meaning of the word. That way you can make some sense out of the sentence and better comprehend and tackle the situation. Right? This can be very handy while answering drop-down questions. Alright, in the next slide we would like to highlight the elimination strategy. So in a reading section, for all tasks there will be an array of options, and it won't be often that you will be 100% sure of each answer. So what if you are in a doubt or spot of bother? Well, it shouldn't be a major problem. To overcome this difficulty, try to narrow down your search process. Usually in fill in the blanks drop down, 2 options out of 4 are more likely to be the answers and are very good options. So your job at first should be to eliminate the obvious, wrong or less likely options. Now, after eliminating them, you will be left with options that are more suitable and that should boost your chances, since you will have a higher probability of getting it correct. And as I have told already, do not leave any option blank. In your reading section, only MCQ multiple answers have negative marking, so it's always wise to attempt an answer even when you are not certain and augment your chances of cracking the test, right? Alright, so finally in the last slide, we would like to talk about the time management. Well, although I'm covering it at the very end, it's nevertheless one of the most important factors. In the reading section, each question is not timed individually, unlike the speaking and writing tasks. Instead, the entire section is timed. So when it comes to responding to specific tasks in the reading module, although you shall have the freedom to take as much time as you need in each question, you will be at a big risk in terms of being able to attempt all questions on time. So what is the solution? How long do you think you should take to answer each question? Well, the thumb rule is 2 minutes per question. At times, a few passages might be a bit lengthy. If it's a drop-down fill in the blanks question, then obviously it carries a lot of marks, since you can enhance both your reading and writing scores. So in that case, maybe you can invest 2.5 to 3 minutes. But please make sure that you do not take extra time while answering other questions. Alright, so that will be it for today. Hopefully I'll be back with some more videos. I hope that you found the tips to be useful. And if you have any doubts regarding any aspect or any questions, or if you're struggling with any particular section in PTE, don't hesitate to contact us, okay? We are always here for your aid. Thank you very much.